This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead we'll get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shawana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics.
Indeed, what a pleasant way to welcome you to today's presentation of the KMTV morning show here in Monrovia, Liberia. I want to say welcome. Too many things to talk about. Liberia is at a point where Liberians will shortly go to the polls to determine the forward march of Liberia. To derive at a point where Liberia will either progress or remain the way we are. And I'm optimistic that the decision that will be made on October 10th will actually put Liberia in a better position as we move forward. Great to be here this morning. Today is Tuesday in Liberia and across the world. And I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your location. And welcome to today's presentation. It is day 15 of August 2023. And we want to say again, welcome. My name is Amos Thomas Momo. I'm your usual host of the KMTV morning show. And we sincerely apologize for the long break. We've been having some little things in between, changing of office from one location to another. But it's great that we can be back on your show at this very, very difficult movement in our country. It is difficult because we are moving to election and we're hoping that it be free, fair, and transparent in Liberia. And so this morning, we'll give you the rundown of the resumption of the KMTV morning show. We will speak with correspondents across Liberia. Our correspondent will come through and they will tell us exactly, as you are aware, the National Elections Commission, responsible for electioneering activities in the country, have opened officially the campaign process in the country, and it's across Liberia. We'll speak with Clarence Pajibo. He comes from Grand Kipma County and corresponds for KMTV there in Grand Kipma. He will put us up to speed with some of the latest happenings there in the county. There have been some denial of some candidate or aspirant by the National Elections, not the National Elections Commission, but the judge there in the county. He will put us up to speed with that. We'll also speak with Brian Deal. He will join us from Maryland County. We have been informed that team of security personnel are currently protesting before the Wadei Referral Hospital there in Maryland County. Brian Deal will join us, and lastly, we'll speak with Sagashas from Sino County, if possible. My name is Amos Thomas. We'll come back, we'll talk some trending issues, and then we'll have our guest. Our guest is the CEO of Simmer Oil and Gas Company. She's a representative as a candidate there in District Number 7, Madam Wendell Powell. She will join us live in our studio as we have this friendly conversation. She's going to be telling us about her intent for the district, her working so far, how far has she gone in her engagement. She will tell us about I think she comes from the ANC. The ANC is a conglomeration of other political parties. She will put us up to speed with the campaign activities, though she's not an official spokesperson of the ANC, but she's a member of the party. She will be telling us exactly her own side as it relates to it. And she will talk on the free, fair, and transparent, violent-free election in the country and other lapses in government and what she thinks. Solomon George, who's the current representative of District 7, is not doing that. She want to come and change the dynamics. And right after that, we'll call it a day at 11:30, prompt on the dot. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll join strictly to our correspondents, and they will join us and put us up to speed with those activities coming up. A short break will bring us right back. Welcome if you're just joining us.
This is a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead we'll get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shoana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics.
Back if you just joining us, and we're hoping you're having yourself a wonderful time. This is the KMTV morning show, and it will be always on your screen Mondays through Friday, 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. here in Liberia. At this junction, we will rush quickly to Maryland County, where the man Brian Dio is. We are getting information that currently some security personnel are before the under referral hospital there in the county, having a station of protest. We don't know for what reason. Brian will tell us exactly what are the reason the personnel from the security sector are stationed at protest before the under referral hospital there in Maryland County. I think it's in Harper City. There, Brian, good to have you on. How you doing?
Morning, Amos. Good morning to those listening to KMTV Liberia Morning Show. It's a pleasure, whatever they are watching us from.
You joining us from Harper, am I right?
Definitely, I join you from the port city of Harper, that is in Maryland County.
Information coming in is that some security personnel are stationed at protest. I don't know as to whether it's peaceful or the way you made or violent. But what exactly are they saying? What the protest is about?
Well, yes, you might want to term it as peaceful protests, and of course, others might want to term it as not being peaceful. But I can say so far that it is a peaceful protest being staged on the main compound of the J.J. Dawson Memorial Hospital in the county, and this is in the wake of authorities at the hospital owing those security personnel 3 months' salaries. And I can say to you that each of these security personnel is definitely pay about $75 US. Now, being told for about 3 months now, they haven't gotten pay at that health facility, and so each of them is now being owed $375 US. So if you do your calculation, you're talking about 15 personnel, you would be approximately talking about up to is just 5,625 United States dollars if the calculation is right. But I can say that this administration is like holding up to that money. Talking about again 15 personnel, each of them is being paid 75 United States dollars. And so if you calculate 225, which is just the regular, which is just a salary for the 3 months, and you say about 15 is 3,375 United States dollars. That is being owned by the administration of the hospital to these workers. So on yesterday, what it did is to shut down and closing of the main entrance of the J.J. Dawson Memorial Hospital. They closed down the main entrance, and of course, they stopped motorcycles and including some vehicles that were taking either drugs or whatever thing. They stopped them from moving into the hospital. What they were only allowing is ambulance to come in the hospital. Even up to this morning, we can say to you that we are yet to make our way at the health facility, but the protest continues. And so we were overturned to have talked with the administrator of the hospital, in person of Administrator Juliet Nadeau, to question in relation to what is the standpoint of the hospital in relation to paying the money owned by the hospital to these security personnel. She told us in an exclusive interview that she couldn't, in fact, give us any details, but she referred her to the county health officer, who is Dr. Methodius George, to basically respond. And in fact, she said she wasn't aware of the protest action. That's part of being invited by the Liberia National Police operations in the county to respond to the closure of the gate and having several motorcycles being parked out of the facility. When contacted Dr. George as well, he told us that he's not aware, and of course he couldn't speak to the media because that didn't reach his desk as a county health officer.
Though you are coming a bit low, but if I can get you quite clearly, you are saying those security personnel that are stationed in the protest having been paid for something around 3 months. Who exactly are they addressing their plight to? Have there been any authorities from the institution to come and address the protesters?
Well, according to the security personnel, they addressed the applies to the county health administrator in person of Mistress Julia Nado. And of course, in the 3 months' time, according to them, she didn't respond to them or give them any proper redress. And so they have been very impatient, but up to yesterday, they couldn't just continue with that because the 3 months, in fact, they have few days adding to the 3 months. And so they couldn't just continue with that, but to go about staging the protest action. And that was why they shut down or closed totally the entrance point of the health facility, stopping motorcycles, including vehicles, from going in or coming out of the hospital compound.
Okay. And on the other side of it, the campaign activities have kickstart in all loose and corners of the country, and Maryland County is of no exception. How is it going there in Maryland?
Well, oil on course. Number one campaign activities, like you tell me, is said to be ongoing across Maryland County. But what is a bit sticky? What is people describing as being too lenient in the process by some politicians? Is that since the inception of the campaign, we only have up to two political figures in the county. That is, we have JT Anagbe, former director of the National Registration. That's NRO. And we also have in county former deputy minister of education Henry Gracie. These are two people contesting these elections, and these are two people that are prominent in county. But the rest of them are still in Monrovia, and it seems that the two people are said to be on a daily basis serving the political grounds in the county, despite of some supporters of the ruling establishment, that's Coalition for Democratic Change, on a daily basis in previous Sorokan district, also in the streets chanting battle cries, engaged in several centers. But again, those contesting on the senatorial race or the representative race, many of them are not in county. They are outside of their respective districts and in fact the county as a whole. Unlike for their supporters who are here and keeping the ground intact in terms of on a daily basis racing battle cries and moving from one street to another.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brian. We're hoping that we can have you on tomorrow. Thank you so very kindly.
It's a pleasure, Amos. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Brian joined us this morning from Harport there in Maryland County. He corresponds for KMTV. I want to say thanks you so very kindly from Maryland County there in Harport City. Our next stop will be in Grand Cape Mount County, where the man Clarence Pajibo is. He will put her up to speed with this denial of one of the representative candidate, Clarence. I'm seeing Sagashas, but I want to speak with Clarence. Clarence will join us shortly to put her up to speed with the denial by George. But let's continue with Sagashas. I think our technical guy will shortly join uh, Clarence to put her up to speed with that happiness there in Grand Cape Mount County. But Sagashas will join us now from Sino County, and he will tell us exactly what are some of the donations made by the chairman of this group calling themselves Sino for We Are. Sagashas, good morning. Thanks for joining us from way there in Sino. Sagashas, are you there? Oh, it's like he's muted or something technical is happening. But he's sagacious. We're hoping he can join us later on. His Clarence is there. He can join us now. Clarence Pajibo will join us from Grand Cape Mount County. There have been this denial by one of the representative candidate of District Number One, Bendu Masare. I think she's the daughter to Idrissa Masare, one of the lead go Takun there in Grand Cape Mount County. Clarence is right before us this morning from Grand Cape Mount. Good morning, Clarence. Clarence, you getting me? Oh, it's like it's getting difficult here. But we'll continue like this, and we're hoping that they can join us subsequently as we go about. there are too many things to talk about. Yesterday, the Unity Party, the leading opposition political party in Liberia, had this fire-burning press conference where there were fire-burning speakers from both sides. You saw the legs of Madam Mandela Cooper, the legs of Senator Abraham Darius DeLong, Madam Yombli Kanga Lawrence, and the rest of other officials from the party, stating a caveat to the leading and the Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC, that I think you follow the happenings on last week Thursday. According to them, their headquarters was brutalized. Some of their partisans was injured by the CDC partisans. According to them, that was the last thing, and it will never be repeated. Later on, you saw the arrival of Honorable Yeke Wa Koluba, and then it was also a dramatic scene there. But we want to know exactly what was some of those things that was said by authorities from the Unity Party, beginning with Madam Mandela Cooper.
We have witnessed the limit of CDC. They have shown to us how useless and incompetent they are. For them to have been a casket for minding and making on their mission. We must go to the polls and vote for you to say you are better than nobody business. Because we are sure that we are a disrespectful attitude towards our country. They will never be better than this country. That's what you need. You will need. We must do it. Jawel claim he's not a good person. What did Jawel not tell you not to do it for the way? Jawel not told and not doing the country. And we must send a clear message from George Weah that we are not afraid of him. That he brings violence ourselves too. Not the way I say. Because you know the person, what you gonna say? The person that will first start the one cheek and then the other one, they start one cheek, you will start their cheek. Now, hey, when you see, I didn't talk to you today, because I'm sitting here with my Kenyan. My Kenyan is a respectful man. He's a decent human being. He's a person who respects human rights. But some of us who step our cheek will step your own. Don't matter where you step your cheek will step your own. And then that's it. You can't cast it or tell you to cast it. That's right now.
The voice there of Madam Mandela Cooper, the head of the movement for One Liberia, who's now a member, uh, you know, of the CDs. Sorry, the Unity Party. I did. Our guys are joining again. I don't know as to what this time around they're going to be a bit clearer. But let us take a short break to come right back.
This is a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead we'll get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shoana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics.
Clarence Pajwood and Sakashi will join us shortly. Clarence will be the first guy. Clarence, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Amos, joining me from Grand Cape County.
So, Clarence, Bendu Masare have been denied to contesting the representative seat of District 1. What exactly is the root cause of our denial? Clarence, are you there?
Yeah, so you are actually right with that information on Amos. A recent the district number one representative aspirant Benu Masale was recently denied of a.
Okay, I think there are some technical network issue there in Grand Cape Man County. So Sagashas is also here. The team calling themselves Sign Up for We Are make some donation in the county. Sagasha, can you quickly put her up to speed? What are some of those things that were donated by the chairman? So it's like we will leave them on tomorrow. We will make all necessary adjustment to have them on, and they will be telling us exactly what are those things happening in the county. But on Thursday, I think our guest is around. On Thursday, there was this brutal scene between partisans of the CDC and partisans of the Unity Party. We will just quickly bring you exactly how the situation was. With partisans as changes there in district number 9. That was actually in district number 9 from both sides, the CDC and the Unity Party. As we set the stage for our guest, I think she's almost around.
They have four parties. Go. Four group parties across the head. Police were on the scene, EPA were on the scene. They never stop the people. And they won most of our wrong down here. So for that reason, no citizen of Pacific United Party here. They see what people will win. You think that's a solution? United Party has always been Asian money. I know CDC is of the Bongo Party in this country. So you are not this country. Why you are not? Because when you are blamed dancing, when you are hating, you don't know someone's side. So for that reason, we never take a normal. You don't pay evil for evil. Why you pay evil for evil? Because you know best enough.
Dare you listen to him? We will pay evil for evil. And lastly, he said, because enough is enough. And so the other side of it, I think that was a clash between partisans of the Unity Party and, of course, some EPS officer. I don't know who can bring that as a board. I think our guest is already here. We will take a short break. We'll leave that. We'll take a short break to set the stage for our guest just in the jiffy. We'll come right back.
This is a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead we'll get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shawana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics. This is a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead we'll get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shawana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics. a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead will get candid, raw, and unfiltered with our presidential and vice presidential candidates. I'm your host, Shawana Cashel. Join me for Candidates Unfiltered, the person, not the politics. This is a show that delves into the lives of politicians beyond their political personas. This show is putting aside the debates and the policies, but instead will get candid, raw, and unfiltered.
Welcome back to the show and thanks for rejoining us. This is the KMTV morning show. It comes away Mondays to Fridays, 10 o'clock to 11:30. My name is Amos Thomas Momo. Like I said to you before, uh, we took correspondence that our guest this morning, as we resume the KMTV morning show, is Madam Wadei Powell. She's the CEO of Senior Oil and Gas Company and the representative candidate there in District Number 7. District 7 is represented by Honorable Solomon George, and she's said, well, Honorable George is not doing what the people need, and I think I can go and do better. She's here this morning with us with no time to waste. Madam, we want to say welcome to KMTV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You look energized. How's life going on?
Life is going well. As you know, we the campaign season has officially opened, and we're out and about with our campaigning and our what I call last minute
Okay.
or last stretch of this process because we've been on this for about a year, and we weren't waiting for this 2-month period to
Okay.
start doing our work. So right now we're having fun. We're going back and meeting people that we have already established our relationships with. We're having a lot of fun with the children. We're going to be planning, hosting a lot of events. We had a day with the disadvantaged youth of District 7 2 weekends ago, and it was on the beach and it was crazy. We have an amazing program coming up for Flag Day. So yeah, now we're having fun now. The hard work has been put in.
I think this promises to be fascinating from the intro. Many persons are following and want to know exactly who are you. I talk about you being the CEO of Senior and Oil and Gas Company. I talk about you being the representative candidate. But is there any other thing you wanted to add up?
Oh yes, there's a lot more to me than being a CEO and a representative candidate. I'm the mother of 2 adult girls, 23 years old. I am Liberian. I was born and raised in District 7. At the time, it was District 1. My entire family on both parents' side hail from District 1, which is now District 7. I was educated in District 7, St. Teresa's Convent, graduated before I went to the U.S. for college. I have been back home in Liberia for the last 18 years, since 2005. I have served as the general manager for Firestone, Liberia. I have served as vice president for Cellcom, which is now Orange. I have my own consultancy company, and I've done work for international organizations, USAID, foreign countries, in organizational development and system strengthening. And my background is organizational development and system strengthening. This is what I've been doing for 30-something years.
Okay.
So
She come with
a lot of layers.
She come with a lot of experience this morning. Campaign is up. How is it going with you?
Like I said, it's going well. We're having fun now. We did our hard work before.
You can tell us about some of your workings in the district.
Well, we launched not launched, but we announced our desire to contest. I announced my desire to contest in June of last year. Prior to that, I never been involved in politics at the electoral level personally. But I've always, since 2017 election, Council Brunson's election, I've always been involved in politics on the back
Okay.
end side. And in June, I decided to
Step
run,
in.
to step in. And the primary reason, well, two primary reasons for that. Number one, unfortunately, we've had an incumbent in the district that I live in for the last 12 years, who in District 7 happens to be one of the districts where nobody has to tell you that the performance is bad. I mean, you step out your door in the morning and you feel it, you see it. And so that was one major reason why I decided to.
What are some of those things in terms of his by leadership you can point out?
I think that the list of things that are not bad about the leadership would be shorter. Nothing good about how he's led the district.
Okay.
The education system or in District 7 is a complete hot mess. There's no real healthcare facilities. There is no public utilities service that is functioning. So you know that the legislator or legislature, even though they are not implementors, and the executive are implementors, but the legislature has oversight of the executive.
Okay.
And you're supposed to make sure that the executive is doing what they're doing. And you have certain powers that you can exercise when that is not the case. And specifically, the representative is the individual who is supposed to represent the interest of the people in their district. This is where you go in and you fight for the budget that's supposed to come into your district to make things better, right? This is where you go out there and make connections and relationships to people to come into your district to do business, right?
Sure.
There's so many things as a lawmaker, as a representative specifically, because the role of the representative, role of the senator is two different things. The representative is the direct representative of the people to the government, to the executive specifically, right? That job has not been done. As a representative, you are supposed to be going out there looking for all good things to bring back to your people. But unfortunately, our lawmakers have turned the job of a representative into Billy Hampom, Billy Osatole, putting people on scholarship. I mean,
Now you point out some major things that are some of the lapses in the district. You talk about education, health,
water,
sanitation, the rest of it.
exactly.
What have been your own intervention since you started in June?
Well, since I started in June, I'm glad you added that. Well, we have done several things. On the issue of education, again, that's a problem that you have to fix. It's a systemic problem. And if you really want to fix the issue of education, you have to fix it from the source. We have given over 89 scholarships, full scholarships to students in the district attending private schools. But that's not a fix for the problem. That's just a Band-Aid. That's just to ease, some of the financial burdens of some of the parents. But that's not the fix. The fix is not to offer student scholarship. The fix is to fix the school system, right? The fix is to make sure that the teachers that are teaching our children, both in the public school and the private school, that those teachers are trained, that they are qualified to teach, to impart knowledge. That's one fix. The next fix is to make sure that, especially with our public school systems, the government has a responsibility to make sure that these schools are up to par, right? So that our children are in a learning environment that will make them become competitive in the future. Third, the private school system, our government has the responsibility to monitor these schools, right? We have schools that are popping up, schools popping up, no credentials, no qualification to dispense education. You go in somebody a house in a backyard is where they're not opening, a Mary school, and they're imparting knowledge that is supposed to be making the children's future better. And so you see, it's evident from a lot of the kids that are coming out of school nowadays, they can't write a 15-sentence paragraph as an spell, none of those things, right? Because the foundation that we're supposed to be given, the educational foundation that they were supposed to be given, they were not given that foundation. Education is not about going to a school building.
So they speak to the fact that there are, quote unquote, some incompetent instructors in those various schools.
Instructors, administrators, I mean, it goes down, not just the school, it goes throughout the education chain. Okay? Let's talk about the sanitation issue in the district. District is filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. And that is not something that takes rocket science. You know, some of the things that can be addressed is simply a matter of giving a damn. It's simply a matter of caring. We have facilities, right? We have MCC. We have these facilities. We have the laws. You don't have to go create anything anymore. It's about caring. It's about giving a damn. It's about consistently being on top of things. Public Works. Public Works is here. So I ain't start to talk about the things that we need to start looking for to create in the future. I'm just talking about things that we can make sure gets done now.
Things that we can make sure get done now.
Education, sanitation.
Okay.
So in some of the areas in the district, water. These are things we can do now. Monitoring of the healthcare system. These are things that we can do now. Making sure that drugs that the government is buying and putting into the healthcare facility are not disappearing for people who got private pharmacies. These are some of the things that we can do now.
You are getting a very tense endeavor. One may say the representative you're going against have served for 12 years, almost 12 years now. He's very solid financially. He understands politics, like you just coming in just in June. You think the people are listening to you? Do you think?
I don't only think that the people are listening to me. I know that the people are listening, but I want us to be clear. The issue of Solomon George in the district has absolutely nothing to do with anybody that's coming in to contest. Okay? Solomon George lost the job on his own. He didn't need any of our help. We who are coming in. The people in the district don't want him no more. They have said it. They are very vocal about it. Now, we know that this is politics. But I would say this to you. District 7 does not need politics for development. It needs capacity. It needs capability. Politics, and we have played politics over and over again, and it never leads to development.
It never needs to development.
It doesn't.
Now, there are cardinal responsibilities of a lawmaker, and that is oversight, representation, and lawmaking. And if you will want to, before we come to you being successful, going at the House of Representatives, representing the people there with those responsibilities, what do you think in terms of the three cardinal responsibility that is now working in the district, and the people are not feeling the impact from their lawmaker?
Well, none of it is working. There's no representation. There's no oversight. Because if you have oversight, the city will not be as dirty. The education system will not be in the situation it's in. If we have representation, we'll be fighting for money for the district budget, not our personal legislative engagement budget where we decide who to give to and whatnot, right? So there's no representation.
Now, if you are successful in going to the House of Representatives, what would be that thing you're going to be fighting for?
I can tell you one thing. The primary thing for me is education, because I think that changes the trajectory of a nation's development. The second thing is private sector development growth. District 7 happens to be, in my opinion, the economic hub of Montserrado. And thus, in certain terms, the country. And the possibilities for business development in District 7 are endless. And that is definitely going to be a major focus of mine. I come from the business background, the business world. And at the end of the day, we have a government right now that is top heavy. The government cannot assume employment of everybody in the country. And the government should not assume employment of everybody in the country. The government's role is to create an environment that is conducive to people being able to do things in the private sector, make laws, policies, monitor, make sure that the government is open. That's the government's role. The government's role is not to employ the whole country. We got to move away from that. But the only way we move away from that is if we start opening up for business opportunities, whether it's domestic business opportunities or foreign opportunities or bilateral relationships, whatever it is. Africa right now is the beacon to the world. Everybody looking at Africa with one life, bro, to be part of that look when they're looking at Africa. Our next door neighbor, Sierra Leone. Our next door neighbor, Guinea. All of our next door neighbors are taking advantage of this. We the only one at the standstill. Nobody want kind. I have colleagues in Nigeria. I'm in the oil business, and I have colleagues in Nigeria. And one of my colleagues told me one day, he said, "You guys have taken over." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Me, we Nigerians, we are scared of Liberians now." What does that say to you? We all know that on a global scale for the longest time, and I think like Nigeria has been trying to change that on a global scale. But on a global scale, the Nigerian man was known as, you know, so for a Nigerian man to tell me say they are getting afraid of Liberia, you know the direction that we're going in.
Okay.
We had a situation now, the other day I was in America, I tried to get money sent to America by MoneyGram Western Union. In the past, Liberia used to be able to send whatever amount of money you wanted to send. Now you can't even send more than $1,500 and receive it. You can send it, but to get it on that side, you got to go through FBI checks and all sorts of things, because Liberia has been placed on globally has been placed on a financial watch where money laundering and all of these sort of things are happening. This is not good. We're not going forward. We're going backwards.
Now, many persons think that, and they are getting in this because the House of Representatives, the perception is that people go there to enrich themselves, they go there to get good jobs, and the gas coupon, the scratch cards, and the rest of it. So, will you talk about constituent visit? You talk about constituent engagement. That is by law. Is a law set by them that when they are going back to their constituent, they should be given a particular amount to go and engage their constituent. And will you be one of those lawmakers that will be going there with the mindset that you need to go and enrich yourself, you need to go and get all of the necessary incentive that is around a lawmaker?
Well, let me start from the beginning first. I gave some information about my professional career journey, and I can promise you that journey has been one that has been made me financially solid, stable. God has blessed me, and I'm not in I'm in a position where I do not need government job. Secondly, as much as the government job salary may sound, in this environment that we're in, and it is a lot considering the environment that we're in, but that is nowhere near what I'm used to, and currently am making. So that this job is not about, money for me. As a matter of fact, uh, this issue of legislative engagement is one of the things that fueled, my thought that some new blood needs to go into that place, right? Because from what I understand, this has been happening for years, but the lid just got blew off, in the last couple of years. But this has been something that has been legal corruption, legal in a sense that you put this thing in a national budget, so that makes it legal on paper. But what do you do with it? You have no way to come back and tell it that, bro, what do you do with that money? Right? So you put it in the budget, but everything in that budget, like everything else in the country, well, nobody can come back and say the money you're putting in the budget, how you spend it?
So it means that your issue here is the money should be there, but then they should be able to account after the engagement that, well, this money, if it is 30,000, it was spent with this district. I built a school here in this community. I built a town.
No, that's not my point.
Okay.
The money should not be given to a lawmaker.
Okay, it should not be there at all.
The money should be put in the district budget.
It will still be supervised by the law.
No, this is where we that we are supposed to have a district council, which is almost like the board of the district. And there are multiple people who sit on that board and make a determination. What do we need in the district? What are we going to carry out first term, first year, second year, third year? And that money that comes in is supposed to go towards those projects that have been identified as projects being needed. It is not to be the determination of one person to say, okay, you can't let me get you scholarship and you can't let me get you pick a rest. That's not what legislative engagement is. Lawmakers should not be building hand pump. That's not your job. Lawmakers should not be building school. It is not your job. That's why we have the Ministry of Education. We have the executive for that. Your job is to make sure the executive is doing its job.
Now, you talk something about stability in terms of your financial standing. One may say, Madam, you are a good woman. You have good heart for people. Going to the House of Representatives cannot change anything. You can just remain in the private sector and do the work you think necessary for our people. Why are you leaving the private sector and jumping into politics if you are not going there for a particular?
Because when good people stand on the sidelines, bad people succeed. If we continue to say, you know what, oh, they think that the people think, or they think that government think, and I ain't government, so let people do what they want to do, which is what a lot of us have done for quite a long time now, for many years now.
Okay.
But things continuously, continue to get progressively worse and worse and worse. And I truly believe it is because people who have the capacity and capability have left this space open to people who do not have the capacity and capability.
Okay.
And there's a thing that when they're capable are not available,
They're
they're available because they're capable. That's so they're available. The people who made themselves available before, they came, they're capable. They're the ones that ran for office. So you can't fault them. At the end of the day, you cannot fault them for being elected because at school were at the table. Somebody had to get elected. But where you do fault them is that when they have been elected and they sit there and they still decide, knowing that they came in, not with all the capability, but when they get there, they still decide that they're not going to do anything to better themselves. They're going to do anything to better the people. They only want to do enrich their life. Build this, buy this, do this, do that. No. Look, the lawmaker's salary in Liberia is one of the highest salaries in America. Who get all the money that they get, they're not making the kind of money that our lawmakers making. Still, that one not enough. You still want pass a budget that don't make no sense for your people, just so you can get a prime.
You think that salary should be
absolutely
brought down?
Absolutely.
To how many percent?
You work 2 days a week. We're gonna do the math. You literally work 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? Besides what you're doing.
You work 5 days a week.
No. You don't work 5 days a week. You are required to show up 2 days a week, right?
But you are also required to show up during the 5 days.
No, but let me. I come in there now. I'm coming to other 3 days. You are required to show up to check the record of the lawmakers at a good session.
Okay.
Over some of them over the entire term, but the stage here and now, you look at more than 2 or 3 sessions, right? That's 2 days. Then the next 3 days, that's what they're doing. Look, I come from a background where everything is dollars and cents and performance based. So, and that's the private sector. You either performing or you're not performing. There's no gray area in between. And so if it's a situation where in Liberia also is one of the only places where the only thing that the lawmaker does is lawmaking. Get a job. Get a job.
Okay.
After
section on Tuesday and Thursday, then you go to
you got more in other places. You got lawmakers that are professors.
Okay.
They're lecturing at what do you call it, university. So this is one way of not only have a job but give it back what do you call it to society. You have professors that give seminars to young. There are other things that, but again, in order to do that, you have to first have capacity. You have to first have capability. And if you look at the caliber of people that have gone into the legislature over the years, it is what it is.
Why it is?
Because that space has been left open. And the people that arrive at the space became available.
Okay. So it means that there are some lawmakers that are not competent.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
If you were to point
And I get to no name names. And you know the lawmaker there. You know them. Yeah. In any environment, just how you have lawmakers that are not competent. In the executive, you have people in the executive who are not competent. In the judiciary, you have judges, you have lawyers. Anywhere you go, you will find incompetent people. So that's not breaking news.
I think you've been following the workings of some of those lawmakers. If you were to point out your admirable one, who could that be?
So I would just say this, right? We're in election season right now. Anything anybody say about anything, it sort of serves as an endorsement. I'm not going to do that at this point in time.
We have the madam here, Madam Wadei.
Powell.
Wadei Powell. I don't want to be here. You continue. And she's our guest this morning. She's the president, the CEO of Chimel Oil and Gas Company, and contesting as representative in District Number 7. That district is represented by Honorable Solomon George. She's our guest this morning. We're talking the issues surrounding her candidacy in District Number 7. What are those things she think that is not working for the people that she want to come and do better for the people? She talked about education. She spoke about health. She spoke about sanitation and the rest of it. She talked about the incompetency of the current lawmaker. He's not, performing even the 3 cardinal responsibility. She talked about the constituent engagement. Normally when they are going back to their constituent, they work back with 30,000, and she think that is something that is not to be done. It should not be even something that we should say is legal, because it's legal criminality, and that's what she said right there. And we'll be talking other issues. What kind of lawmaker are you going to be if you are elected? Will you be giving your salary back to the district, or you will be using it for other district engagement or other district purposes?
No, my salary is my salary. I earn my salary.
Okay.
I don't think that it makes sense for anybody to say they're going to give their salary away. Nobody works for free, right? Now, or give their entire salary. Now, even now in the private sector, all for the last 15, 16 years, I'm the type of person who believes that I've been greatly blessed and so I have a responsibility to give back. So I'm very involved in multiple philanthropic organizations at this point in time, mostly with in education and women's empowerment. And I've been doing that for many, many years right now.
Okay.
So no, I will not give my salary or tell them to take my salary as, that's a political ploy to get rid of, or the person really cares about us. Absolutely not. But I'm responsible enough, to know that if there's a need in the district and there's a financial assistance that can be provided, I do that now.
Okay.
People come to me, oh, somebody died. People that died. But again, it is not based on any kind of personal obligation to do it, because I'm a private citizen just like everybody else is a private citizen, right? It is more so based on my firm belief that to whom much is given, much is expected. So I've been given a lot in life, a lot more than many people have been given in life. So I expect of myself that I should give some of that back, which is why I have my scholarship program that I've had, not just for the district, around the country. I've had that for over 7 years, which is why I am a huge supporter of the Kids Education Engagement project that is run by Brenda Moore, which is why I support the Organization for Women and Children, which is run by Mombido Harold, which is why I've supported water and sanitation projects in Riverside run by Saran Kaba Jones, which I am the kind of person that if I see somebody doing something that is helping society and that person has character, integrity, and all of that, I put all my support behind it. Some of us, I like to always say, some of us do and some of us help others do, right? These are amazing women that are running these organizations. And when I give my money to them, I can go to bed at night and sleep and know that my money is going to be used for intended purpose, right? Now all of us are able to run NGO. I know me, I get the patience to run NGO. And I take my hat off to them, to these women that do this. And there's a lot of requests that comes in, for support and that. But I tell you, these 3 women that I've named, These are people who, I mean, the evidence is there. The evidence of the work, the tangibles, right? You know that they have heart in what they're doing. They are, they have integrity.
Okay.
And every year, for example, every year I get an annual report, a full annual report that shows every penny received, every penny dispersed, literally, Brenda Brumore, Monbido, Joe Harrow with All Watch. Brenda Brumore with Keith, Monbido with All Watch, and Saran Kabad Jones with this is Wadei.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to give back to society? If you give to these three women, just know your money will be well invested and well spent.
Well, too many women are stepping into politics in the country now, most especially this 2023 election. I think the dynamics is changing a little bit. You think there will be some changes? Are you open to working with other women who are contesting in other districts?
I'm open to working with any woman who has capacity and capability. Now, I know a lot of people, because I support women's empowerment, but I don't consider myself a feminist. And Montserrado will always say you are a feminist to the core, but I just don't consider myself that, because I think there's a couple of nuances that I disagree with this whole feminist movement, especially the feminist movement in Liberia. Because feminist movement can be defined differently for different people in different environments, right? I believe that women should be given equal opportunity. I believe that women should be given equal access. I believe that in certain instances where there is a shortage of women in a specific area, women should be given affirmative action, for example, right? Those things are necessary. However, we're talking about comparing apples to apples. I don't think that these things should be given simply because it is a woman.
Okay.
Right? I don't think that a woman who is not qualified for a particular position should be given that position because she's a woman. You understand what I'm saying?
Certainly.
If you are qualified, just as qualified as the male, then I think you deserve the equal opportunity. As a matter of fact, in certain instances, you deserve the affirmative action, which you will bump you up ahead of that man.
But what are some of those things we should look for in a woman that she could be a better representative than a man?
Character.
Okay.
Integrity. In any human being, in any job that requires you to work for the people or be in the interest of someone else, those are two of the major character traits that you need to look at. Look at people's track record. Labrador is very small. Anything you want to know about people, you're able to find out about it. Look at how this person, if it's someone who is already in the legislature, look at their performance in the legislature. If it's someone that is coming in, go in a community and ask the people in the community, what type of character is this?
Okay.
Because the type of character you are in your community and the type of character you will be in the legislature. If you are taking the position money in your community, you will take it. If you are in your community and not even able to bring yourself up there, then how can you be expected to go in the legislature and bring other people up? Okay. They're not mathing.
Right.
So when we elect people, with the expectation that we have, don't say, order my friend, or he or she for the community. Because we've seen that before. You elect people for the community, they say you one of us. When they get there, they are no longer one of y'all. Elect people based on the character that they have displayed in their lives.
If you're not successful this term, what will be your next thing?
I'll go back to my job.
Okay. Will you feel dissatisfied?
Absolutely
not. Frustrated?
Frustrated? Absolutely not. Let me tell you something.
You're putting in a huge investment in this. I think you go in there with your heart, right? You go in there with your resources. And what if the people say, well, this is not the right time for you?
Then that's absolutely the message that they're sending, that they are not ready for me.
Okay. Will you come back to this?
No, I will not.
You will not?
No.
So this is
a one-shot thing.
Oh.
And let me tell you why that is. I'm 51 years old.
Okay.
right? 2029, that's 6 years from now, be 57 years. I do not intend to be working for the rest of my life to do, right? What I am able to do physically for the next 6 years, I will not be able to do it for 6 years beyond that.
Okay.
You know, I don't subscribe to that. And then this job of the representative, they're not office job. You're not going to sign in office and you need to be out there making sure that your district is handled properly. So for me, the work that I need to do in District 7 requires the people of District 7 being ready to tie them, being ready to make the sacrifice. It ain't gonna be easy. It is not gonna be easy. And it's not something that one person can do. The constituents of the district will have to put their hand inside. Sanitation, you gotta make sure that you are keeping your area clean. Education, you gotta make sure that you're reporting, you're not sending your children to school that their teacher there or the school not qualified. You gotta make sure that when something is happening at school, you are report. You have to become a participant in your governance.
There is another side.
And it means we are partnerships in this. So when the constituents are not ready for that type of partnership, and I tell them all the time in all of my engagements, when they are not ready for that type of partnership that requires them to do something, it requires me to do something, then I'm not the one to elect.
There is another side around it, right? So why if you are elected and the people feel very comfortable with your leadership, and after the 6 years they say, well, madam, I think you did very well and we are very happy with the workings, we want you to leave for another 6 years. Are you open to do that?
I am open. I would be open to do that, but that would not be my first preference. Okay. Many years ago, I told myself that I would retire at 55.
Okay.
Right. Mentally, I put myself in that space. This was at a time where I even had 2 cents to rub together, too high, to what's my call. I was eating oodles and noodles at the time. This was very early in my college years. But I had a dream. I had a goal. I had an objective that I would retire at 55 because I had seen people work or have to work so in America until they're 68 before they get retired. By that time, you get no life to enjoy. So what is retirement, right? I told myself that every decision that I made in my career was with that in mind. I'm happy to say that at 51, 52, am I 52? Yeah, at 52.
Okay.
No, at 51, sorry, I'll be 52 next year.
Okay.
I'm happy to say that where I am right now, I'm in a position if I wanted to retire today. Going to run for office is more of a matter of passion. I have achieved, I'm at the pinnacle of my professional career. I have achieved every goal that I set out for myself, personally and professionally, right? I have been able, God has blessed me to be able to be in a position where I'm financially stable, so I don't have to be out there hustling anymore, right? My kids are grown, both of them, completely with school and everything, so they're set. Both of my children came out of college. They get one student loan to pay back, so they're debt free. When I came out of college, I had thousands and thousands and thousands of debt. My mother was not in a position to do that, right? But I made sure that my children are coming. So I am good where I am right now. So everything I do from this point on in my life is about passion. It's about, what makes me feel like, I'm giving back to this world that has given me so much.
Do you see this election coming in October of 2023 as being free, fair, and transparent, violent free? You witnessed on last Thursday the violent clash between members of the CDC and that of the United Party in District Number 9. What's your take on it?
I do not believe that these elections are going to be violence free. We saw the violence just even during the registration period exhibited, and that was just registration. So imagine what do you call it, elections. But at the end of the day, we have had 3 successive presidential elections: 2005, 2011, 2017. We're about to have 23. There has been violence in every last one of them.
Sure.
You know, so what that says to me is that obviously we're not doing our job to make sure that the violence is decreasing.
Okay.
But we have had violence in every election that we have had in this country. And I think a lot of it begins in the way before the election. A lot of it begins in the campaigning process. A lot of it begins in the way in which constituents, voters, supporters are allowed to insult, to curse. We create this environment, right, that makes it, that says that it is okay to be violent, right? In some places, there are certain things that you can make your point. You can support who you want to support. But that's the way we insult and we cuss each other. What is it about? You would be put in jail for that in some serious countries, right?
Certainly.
There's certain things that your freedom of speech ends where mine begins. You can't lie on me. That's in some countries, that's a felony. To willfully lie on somebody to tarnish their character, you'll go to jail. Or the judicial system would be as such that if somebody sued you for that, you would pay plenty of money. You know, so the violence that we see exhibited on election day and post-election, that environment is created for that violence 1, 2, 3 years in advance. If we were serious about making sure that election violence was brought down, we would start from the point that people start to insult on the radio, people start to insult on Facebook. You only get to that point where insulting is all you are left with when you got nothing else to bring to the table.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Which side are you in the Liberty Party?
Which side am I? There's no side. There's one Liberty Party.
We have two factions. We have the Ability faction and that of the Young
No, we don't. That's propaganda.
Okay.
That made for good news.
Okay.
That made for excitement in the political arena.
Okay.
Right?
So the
National Elections Commission recognizes Liberty Party.
So
Montserrado happens to be the chairman of Liberty Party. He is not in charge of any faction. We're not in war. Okay. Right? Yomni Kanga Lawrence happened to be the political leader, former political leader of Liberty Party. She is no longer the political leader of Liberty Party. But the Liberty Party does not recognize individuals. It recognizes an institution.
Is she still part of the Liberty Party?
No, she's not. No, she's not.
Okay.
No, she's not.
How's the Liberty Party doing so far?
The Liberty Party is doing great.
Okay.
The Liberty Party is doing great. I'm pretty sure you're in the media, you're a journalist and whatnot. So you've been seeing some of the coming back homes, the reconciliations that's been happening. The people who have been returning to their party. A lot of people sat on the sidelines. People didn't take sides in this issue that was going on between the political leader and the executive committee. Many people just sat on the sidelines and didn't take sides. And in their minds, and they've said this to us, in their mind, at the end of the day, the Elections Commission and the Supreme Court have the final say in who's right and who's wrong in this matter. And once that is decided, we will go on whatever that side is. The Elections Commission and the Supreme Court has decided who is legally sound in this matter, and it's the National Executive Committee. Okay. And so people are coming back to the party.
And the legal side is for ability.
Stop this ability business. y'all like too much propaganda. The Liberty Party constitution.
Okay.
It has the legal standing.
Okay.
Yeah? That is the document that determines how this organization is run. Musa Hassan Bility is the chairman. He is subject to that constitution.
Sure.
The executive committee is subject to that constitution. The national convention is subject to that constitution. It is the constitution that is the supreme document of the institution. It is not Bility. It is not Kankan Lawrence. It is not even me. It's not even the executive committee of which I am a member. Okay. We are not the say or be all. We run an institution where there are multiple people that sit at the table and discuss issues and determine one way to go or another. and the majority wins. That's what our Constitution says. So you may want to, and there's been times where I've had a position and wanted to do something. The majority say no.
Okay.
What do I do? I go and start doing it regardless of what the majority say. No, that's not institutional.
Do you also see that the rivalry between the two leaders in the party, like you said, I should stop saying Beledi and Kanga, but do you see that as something that created a serious gap within the party?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, when that was going on between the two leaders, and you're right, at the time it was going on between the two leaders because at the time Yobli Kanga Lawrence was the political leader and Musa Hassan Beledi was the chairman. So it was going on between the two leaders, and that conflict between the two leaders caused some people to take sides, and it also caused some people to just back off and wait until things were resolved. Right? For those people that took sides, obviously they were very passionate. Everybody was very passionate about their side and where they stood, and they were right and all of that. And when me and you meet first, right? That you would say you're right, and you would say I'm right, right?
Sure.
There's somebody who is in charge of saying judging this matter. The people that are in charge of judging this particular matter between the two leaders, there is the Election Commission and the Supreme Court. That matter has been judged. The Liberty Party issue is closed. It's not. We're not even talking about that anymore. All we're focusing on right now, our people come back, what do you call it, to the party. Everybody is reconciling. All of the people that stood on the sidelines, even many of the people that were on the other side, are coming back home because they're saying, nah, the decision has been made. The Supreme Court has decided there's no more side. There's only Liberty Party.
Well, one may say you have two major opposition political party now in the country. You have the Unity Party, and then you have the CPP that consists of the Liberty Party and the ANC. Of the two, of the three parties, including the CDC, who is the ruling party, who you see as the next head of state of this country? You have Mr. Cummins, you have Mr. Ambassador Boakai, you have President Weah. As we move to this October pool, who you see as being best suited for taking Liberia in the next 6 years?
So you asked two different questions there. The first question you asked was, who do I see as the next president? Then you came back and you asked, who do I see as best suited? Right? Those are two completely different questions.
Yeah,
right?
I want to be. It's a bit hypothetical, right? So you would tell me this person is best suited because
obviously Alexander Cummings, in my opinion, is the best suited. That's why I'm in a collaboration. Liberty Party is in a collaboration with ANC.
Okay.
Right. So it's not by mistake that we support Alexander Cummings. It was a very deliberate decision once again, based on our assessment of the playing field and based on our assessment of the capacity and capability of the people that are in the field. Now, that's a very different question from
best
who.
suited.
No, that's the answer to the best suited. He is best suited to lead. Just like I'm best suited to lead in District 7. Whether or not he is going to win, whether or not I am going to win, is a question that is up to the voters and what the voters feel is best suited for them. And it's also up to the candidates, he and myself, in being in a very similar situation, on whether or not we have convinced the voters, whether we have made our case, whether the voters feel that we are, this is going to be you presenting something new, right? So do the voters feel like, this person? Yeah, we know. There has never been any question, even for opposition or for imposition or for current position. There's never been any question about Alex Cummings' capability. All the way people can want to about this and that. Nobody can take that away from him. That is something that he earned over many, many years. You don't get to the point that you get to in corporate America, corporate Africa, by just being not knowing what you're doing, right? So there's no question about his capability and his capacity. The question now is, are the voters in Liberia ready to vote on capability and capacity? Or are we still going to be voting on race? prestige, popularity, this. So this is Liberian politics. You know, the cookie can crumble anyway. We fight for what we think is right. We fight to bring the change about, but ultimately, it is the voter that decides who is going to lead them.
Ultimately, the voter decides who leads. Then comes 2023 of October. Now, certainly, this election will have a second round. And in the second round,
Now, yes, that one round is the ones.
no, so
Which I would advise that whatever formula they got together that one round, they better rethink that formula because there's no way we will have one round election in this.
it's not possible.
It's impossible.
It's not ready.
Unless you want to bring trouble.
So if we go to second round, we have only two parties. So now, take for example, the Unity Party and the CDC is in the second round. Who will you be showing behind?
Oh, that's as my party will make a decision at that point in time and inform the Liberian public. I'm here to talk about District 7.
So what if your political leader, who is Mr. Cummins, says, well, at this point in time, we can take our decision by ourselves. I will go where I want to go, and my partisans and supporters can go their side. Where you will go?
But you mean me personally?
Personally,
I can guarantee you that Liberty Party is not going to make any decision in that manner.
And you will vote right.
Of course I will.
And who you vote for?
I'm not gonna put that out right now.
What's your that's just one question I wanted to ask you. What's your current relationship? I will take you a little bit back with Mr. George. Someone just
Who's Mr. George?
Solomon George, Representative Solomon.
I don't have a relationship with him.
All right, thank you.
But besides him cussing me every now and then.
Thank you so very kindly. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? I wouldn't ask you, so we'll leave you.
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. I think I want to send a message out to the people of District 7. The upcoming elections are critical. I think my engagement over the year with the people of District 7 has shown that I believe, number one, hard work. I believe, I don't send somebody to do anything that I'm not willing to do, myself. Of course, integrity and character, I've exhibited that. I'm a pretty straightforward, straight shooter. So a lot of people tell me, say, you got political season, you got to do it, but I don't even believe in that. I can't even be a politician enough to help myself win my election because I see things very black and white. If you're doing something that is foolish, I will tell you right on the spot, you're doing something that is foolish. Even if you say, well, I'll vote for me. No problem, don't vote for me. But if that for vote business, I will allow you to continue to do something that's foolish, it will not happen. So I've lost people, for example, who have been members of my campaign team because they were doing things that they had no business doing and I would not condone. Now, that's not a very smart political move because that means that you are losing some people who may go and say some bad things about you.
Okay.
But I can never, ever, ever put myself in a situation for politics to determine my integrity, level of integrity. Okay. Like I said, I really, really, really want to be, representative. But if I am not represented, I will not die. You understand what I'm saying? Sure. This is not an end all and be all. And in my personal capacity, I will go on to help my people like I've been doing all these years. The only reason I want to be represented is because it comes with a certain authority that allows me to do more on a much bigger scale. But it's not because my livelihood is dependent on it.
What's your number on the ballot paper?
I'm number 10.
Oh, number 10. Yeah. You people are how many?
12.
Okay.
Yes.
You're number 10 in the
I'm the only woman in the pink jacket, the pink clothes. I got on pink clothes.
Pink suit.
Yeah. Pink suit.
Thank you for passing. We hope we can have this conversation as we go about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You say your name again?
Wadei Powell.
I'll you call her the Wadei Powell. Madam Wadei Powell has been our guest. She's the CEO of Shimmer Oil and Gas Company and representative candidate district number 7. You listen to our correspondent, though we have some technical glitches this morning, but we're hoping that tomorrow everything will be okay. Tomorrow we're going to be having Prophet Key. Prophet Key will be our guest. He will not be the normal Prophet Key on his show, but he will be the Prophet Key with civility and speaking to some of those trending issues in the country. And we're having for 1 hour and 30 minutes with our correspondent. Until tomorrow, we'll be back here. My name is Amos Thomas Momo. This is the KMTV morning show, and she was the first guest as we resumed the show for almost 6 months. The show been off. I think it's an opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, tomorrow we'll be here. It must have been my name. Bye-bye. We see you tomorrow. Thanks to all of our followers and thanks to our technical team headed by the man White Ball and Josiah behind camera. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, see you. Bye-bye.